Triple FYI, I think you're sharing your full screen, so email and everything is coming.
Hello everyone, how are you doing?
Hello. Good
Hey
morning.
guys.
Hey, good morning, everyone.
Over to you, Gaurav.
Yeah, thanks, Raghav. Hey, everyone. Hi, Preetham, Jasper, Raghav, Ayan, and Jerry. Welcome back to our weekly session on Discover Yourself episodes. So, today we are going to start with a fresh episode, which is on the mind, a friend or a foe. So, is everybody excited for that? Cool.
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm happy to be here as well. Thank you.
What do you think? How will you answer this question? Whether your mind is a friend or is it a foe?
How would I answer it?
Yeah.
I feel like I give this answer to a lot of things, but it depends. But I would rather think of it as a friend because we've only got one of them.
Interesting. Anybody else would like to share? What do you think, whether your mind is your friend or is it a foe? I would say enemy, right? Foe is like enemy. And you're living with that constantly, like your roommate or your neighbor.
Yeah, I would want it to be my friend. I think I agree with Jasper. I only have one mind, so I'd want it to be my friend, but it can be a foe. I see some, yeah,
Okay.
sometimes it can feel like a foe.
Yes, sometimes it can be a friend, sometimes it can be a foe. That's a very honest answer. Thank you, Preetham. Thanks, Jasper. I copy that. Anyone else?
I guess on a good day, it's your friend. On a bad day, it's your foe.
Okay, cool. So we'll try to see how we can make more of a friend, and when it behaves like a foe, how can we still manage it? It's all about managing the mind. In Sanskrit, the word for mind is man. Man in Sanskrit means mind. So managing means managing your mind. Okay, let's review this video and then we can dive deep into it. Thank you again, everyone, for joining this morning. It's a wonderful morning and it's become
The mind, a friend or a foe? As we progress into the 21st century, we see that science and technology has reached heights which couldn't have been imagined a few decades ago. The purpose of science is to either eliminate all miseries or at best reduce miseries, and thereby bring more and more happiness into the lives of common people. So, we should expect the most cherished qualities of love, peace, and fraternity amongst the citizens. However, the present-day scenario is just the opposite. If knowledge is power, it is worth considering why we are unable to control the world situation today. One need not blame the government, politicians, bureaucrats, police officials, judiciary, etc., for the problems that the world faces today. If we are internally disturbed, we will reflect it onto the outside world by creating disturbances for others. Hence, it is essential to evaluate the nature of our mind in order to understand the art of mind control. The biggest challenge today is dealing with an identity crisis. Who am I? If one can identify one's real identity, he can work towards achieving lasting happiness. The ancient Vedic wisdom suggests that we are not these bodies, but pure spiritual consciousness. The body which we see is actually dead matter. It appears to be alive because of the presence of the consciousness. When the consciousness leaves the body becomes inactive. The consciousness is a spiritual energy covered by the material energy consisting of gross elements and subtle elements. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the gross elements are earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the subtle elements are mind, intelligence, and false ego. The subtle element of false ego, or ahankara, causes the spiritual consciousness to identify with the material body. Intelligence is the decision maker and discriminates amongst the various options thrown by the mind. Mind is the center of all activities of the senses and is the reservoir of all ideas of sense enjoyment. It is a storehouse of thoughts, unfulfilled desires, and previous experiences. The simple functions of the mind are thinking, feeling, and willing. These functions sometimes manifest in the form of the accepting or rejecting of ideas by the mind, and sometimes in the form of the mind hankering for things we don't have or to lament our past. Our material body is like a chariot. It has 5 horses, the senses of hearing, touch, sight, taste, and smell. Each of us is a spiritual consciousness riding within. We're the passenger. And to keep the horses on course, we have the reins, our mind, and the driver, our intelligence. As we've all experienced, our sensory horses are always ready to bolt off after this or that, and their pulling creates anxiety in our mind. The problem is that we have no permanent goal to keep our mind on. If empowered by spiritual knowledge, it has sufficient strength to control the mind. The senses, composed of the gross elements, are the direct link of the consciousness and the subtle body with the external world. The overall coordination of the whole conscious body arrangement can thus be fulfilled only if the senses are controlled. For example, when you are walking along the road and you see a pizza shop, first your eyes are attracted by the picture of the pizza. This information is passed on to the mind. The mind has 2 things: the previous experience of the taste of pizza and the input of seeing the pizza. The mind consults the intelligence, and the intelligence dictates to your hands and legs to go to the shop and purchase the pizza. In this way, coordination takes place between the senses, mind, and intelligence. How to control the mind. The nature of mind is like a jumping monkey jumping from one branch to another and is never stable. The mind is not satiated, no matter how many of its desires you try to fulfill. From stress to heart attack, from depression to suicide, from a petty quarrel to a bloody feud, the culprit behind all problems is the uncontrolled mind. An uncontrolled mind can completely ruin a person. However, there is hope. As the Bhagavad Gita says, a man must elevate himself by his own mind, not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So how can we control the mind? There are many physical, mental, and spiritual techniques. Physical methods include yoga exercises, pranayama, breathing exercises, diet, celibacy, fasting, etc. Mental techniques include forgiveness, detachment, techniques to develop concentration, patience, self-control over impulses, positive thinking, and change of mental attitudes. Spiritual techniques include mantra meditation, developing realized knowledge about the self, associating with spiritually minded people, and a spiritual diet. These spiritual techniques have been found to be all-inclusive, and simply by following the spiritual principles, the benefits of all the other methods, physical and mental, can be experienced. Sometimes, out of frustration, we try to quiet our mind by stopping our senses and engaging in silent meditation. This may bring us some relief, but it doesn't last, because sooner or later, our senses have to act. So the solution to permanently control and engage the mind is to find a goal that's permanent and fully satisfying to our senses, mind, and intelligence. Krishna recommends in the Bhagavad Gita, dedicate your activities to me, absorb your senses, mind, and intelligence in me, and you will attain me. Krishna's very name means the highest satisfaction. There is no peace and happiness in the accumulation of wealth or possessing bodily beauty or in display of strength. The real secret of happiness is in a controlled mind, which is gradually achieved with a spiritual way of life. It is very difficult to control the mind and senses without experiencing a higher taste of spiritual bliss. The spirit can experience such a higher taste by chanting the names of supreme consciousness in love. For the present age, the recommended process for developing a higher taste is to chant the Maha Mantra in association of spiritualists.
Okay, it was an amazing video. It covered so many aspects. So this is an icebreaker. I know we went into the video, so before we jump into the video, let's do this icebreaker. What quality do you appreciate most in a person? But it's kind of yes. Somebody, yes, just
First thing that came to mind for me was genuineness, being authentically yourself and not adjusting based on various factors. That really makes an impact for me.
Yeah, that's a very nice quality of integrity, honesty, and being genuine. It's very easy to be genuine when things are going according to your way, but it's very difficult to be genuine when things are not going your way. So that's the true test of strong
Resilience.
resilience. Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect, Jasper. This is you have very deep thoughts.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to say honesty, which I think also is very similar to being genuineness. And you can only be honest when you are feeling confident and resilient. But it's, yeah, so I guess both are pretty similar, but that's what came to my mind.
Honest to yourself, whether you're, whatever you're promising or goals you have, you are following that, and integrity to others for whatever you have said or promised. Nice. Yeah. Wow. Okay, so now I think, yeah, Jerry, you wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say also honesty.
Yes.
Yeah. A pet peeve of mine is when I know someone's lying, and I can usually tell when they're lying too. So, yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of breaks the trust, right? In order to build trust, you have to be really honest. And if you have trust, then you can build that relationship with somebody. Yeah. And I think that's what we are looking for, right? To love and be loved. And it is not possible unless we trust each other and unless we are honest to each other. I like your necklace, Jerry.
Thank you. I found it at, there's this tiny little Tibetan shop at Pike Street. It's just full of stuff. And yeah, it's made of citrine. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I think if anybody else has anything to share, or
I think Raghav had something in the chat.
Let's see, what did he put? Oh, Raghav is not feeling today. Oh, not feeling well, so off camera today. Okay. Yeah, Raghav, take care. So he values the quality of caring the most. Yeah. See, all these quality I'm seeing, all these accumulate into our innate need for love, whether somebody loves us or we love somebody else, right? So whether it's honesty, integrity, it all boils down to the same thing. That is the nature of our inner self, our soul, to feel happy, to be cared for, to be loved for. So all these qualities point to the same thing. So yeah, feel better, Raghav. Okay, if is there anyone else who would like to share the quality they like the most? Otherwise, we can jump into the video questions.
I like the quality of caring as well. I feel like to some extent, genuine friendship is also, I think it kind of ties into caring, where I feel like many friendships are to the extent where we feel like we're getting something out of it. And the moment someone's asked, like, oh, can you drive an hour to drop me to the airport? You're like, no, I think I'm a little too busy on this day and that day and this day and that day. So definitely like caring and I guess more broadly speaking, deep levels of friendship.
Yes. So honesty, integrity, caring, friendship, trust. Nice. Thank you, Ayan, for sharing that. Okay, so if nobody else wants to share any other quality, then we can jump into the videos. So explain the interaction amongst the functions of the mind, intelligence, and ego. So I think in the video there was some analogies about the mind, intelligence, ego. So would you like to share or reflect on those, or you have your own examples? That is also fine. How do the mind, intelligence, and false ego interact? I remember a little joke on the mind while you're thinking. There was a professor, he said, oh, since we cannot see the mind doesn't exist, and then the student uh, also asked about few things that didn't that the professor says didn't exist. So then the student told the professor, oh professor, you're not able to solve this problem, you don't even have a mind, because you cannot see it, so you are mindless. So it was like the professor was kind of insulted in front of all the students. So yeah, intelligence, mind, false ego. We can't see the intelligence also, we feel the intelligence. And
What was the question again, Gaurav?
Explain the interaction. So Raghav posted on the chat, what is the interaction amongst the functions of the mind, intelligence, and false ego? If you remember the video, there was some analogy about the chariot. Yeah, yes, go ahead.
What is false ego?
False ego is one is ego, where one is true ego and one is the false ego. So in terms of spirituality, true ego is understanding that yes, I am something beyond this body, this temporary mind. I am that consciousness, that living force that is pervading each and every living entity. And false ego is where we are too much attached to this I, me, mind, that I think everything I should get, everything should happen according to me, and I'm the only one in the whole world out of 8 billion population that everybody should listen to me and uh, follow my direction. So that is kind of the false ego, like too much of conception of selfishness, like that.
Is one way of thinking about this? I'm curious. Like one way of thinking about ego is like ego is identification of the self, like who we think we are, and it is false if we think that we are the mind or we are the body. and so it is considered false because that leads us to all the wrong paths. But it is true ego if we think that it is that we are the soul and we are the spirit. Gaurav, would that be an accurate way of thinking about this?
Yeah, Raghav, yes, perfect.
I think I have something might tie into this. I remember in the video that it was speaking about how at least the mind creates dissonance by yearning for material things. And I remember this was really portrayed to me once. I asked a good friend of mine, just passively, we were walking down the street, and I asked, cool car passed by, and I said, "What do you have? What would your dream car be?" And he said, "I don't have a dream car, right? Because I don't yearn for material things." And it really put life in a different light after he said that, because it would seem, I feel like life would be a lot simpler if we weren't concerned with the needs of the false ego, of this selfishness, if so to speak. Does that kind of get at the idea you were asking about?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Jasper. It's a wonderful example. Mind intelligence and false ego. So, how they interact with each other. I think the example of pizza was also there, right? How would someone like to recall that example or some other example which you can give? How you get input into your mind, and then the intelligence kind of discriminates it, and then um, the ego or false ego, how does it react to it?
I think for me, I struggle with this a lot, and I just had a bad experience around this yesterday.
Mhm.
I used to sell supplements. I worked in the natural health industry. So I think I know so much about natural health care. And I tend to always navigate towards natural practitioners. I don't like, the more traditional doctors that we have here in America. Um, and I always think I can self-treat myself and I can take care of it instead of going, to a more qualified professional. And so that's ego, right? Like I know better because this has happened to me so many, like a few times where I'm like, nope, I can work through this. I know how to take care of it, but I am not the qualified professional to do
Yeah,
this. So yeah, that's a struggle for me that I just keep learning the hard way.
amazing. Yeah, that's so nice to learn, Jerry, that you are into like natural, healing and nutrition and everything. My wife also likes to do that, and sometimes we follow Ayurveda. Have you heard of Ayurveda?
Yes, yeah, Ayurveda is a great one.
Yeah, Ayurveda, homeopathic. So these are nice, ways, alternate medicinal practices.
Hmm.
Yeah, and we also have a very big Ayurveda practice, and what you're doing in India in Eco Village, there is a self-sustainable community where uh, we have a huge community that is focused towards doing all these things. So it's a whole kind of village which is self-sustainable. So it has got a lot of international awards. Maybe I'll share that in the chat later. So
Yeah,
a lot of
that'd be
people from
great.
America visit there and do like yoga retreats and stuff like that. It's a beautiful place. It is like
I,
built with bamboo, and like everything is sustainable. Like they generate their own electricity through cow dung, and then they have cow farms and naturally growing vegetables. So it's amazing.
wow, I really want to go there now. That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, you should drop the link for that.
yeah, maybe we can all go as a group.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I believe so. One of the like according to the question that explained the interaction among functions, what I liked was the video was talking about, okay, you see a pizza or picture of a pizza, goes into your mind and says, oh, I like pizza, I will go get it. And then my intelligence is telling my rest of the body to actually go physically go there and place the order. It's even easier if I have Uber Eats or something, so I can just do it on my phone. So it's much quicker, that entire loop of seeing a pizza to actually getting the pizza. So I think that maybe that's maybe like the interaction.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, while we were talking about this self-sustainable village, thank you, Preetham, for sharing that. I remember an example of an American woman. She visited this community in Eco Village, and then she saw big papayas, and then she says, how do you have so many big papayas here? And then one of our friends, he said that every time you flush your toilet, it goes into the soil like in the natural way, and it provided the natural fertilizers and everything. And they also use cow dung and other things. Then she was so amazed, because nowadays people are using pesticide, insecticide, and so many things, but this is organic papaya. And she said, it is not a papaya, it's a poopaya.
That needs to be framed. That's amazing.
Because everything is like natural and organic. So she said, okay, so we can probably go to the next question. In your opinion, why is it essential to control the mind? What could be the consequence of an uncontrolled mind on the self and the society? So one day I was walking and I saw a person wearing a t-shirt. It said, "Do not disturb" in the front. And then when he passed by, and behind his t-shirt, it was written, "I am already disturbed." So this question is very relevant because, today a lot of people are already disturbed in the society, and sometimes we ourselves, right? So why is it essential to control the mind? And what could be the consequence of uncontrolled mind on the self and society? So we saw how the nature of mind is like a monkey, jumping from one branch to another branch. So
I think that the uncontrolled mind, the consequences of an uncontrolled mind are quite apparent in this day and age already, because of the innumerable amount of distractions that we witness on the daily basis. It's so easy for that monkey to jump between millions of trees instead of just a handful, with the invention of some being able to text someone from around the world or see, technology in general has just sped up this process of the mind creating so many anxieties. But in order to control the mind, it's essential, because we could curb maybe this anxiety that's been such a staple, or a kind of a norm, to just have anxiety. So to tap into supreme consciousness would be, like it said in the video, would be a great way.
cool. I think he also answered Jasper the second question, which followed. But yeah, thanks for sharing that. Anybody else would like to share?
Yeah, I think when like I am feeling anxious and when then I have to react to anything, it's often not a good reaction. I am acting from fear, from negative feelings, and I don't think I can be my best self to anyone. So I think if that happens with everyone with an uncontrolled mind, there will just be chaos. There will just be chaos. No one agrees to one another, cannot have discourse, cannot have constructive conversations. I think that's why controlling the mind is important, and being able to understand where your mind is, what makes it happy, and so that you can understand the world around you, which is always trying to just
Yeah.
it's pretty scary. Just things that
Yes, Preetham,
happen.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it's the key to happiness too. I was shocked to see that, meditation won't. What was it that they said about meditation? Like it'll bring you happiness for a little bit, but I think overall it's just controlling the mind completely all the time. And then because when you're angry, you start lashing out because you're not controlling the mind, or when you're sad, your mind just starts, going through all these terrible things and telling you all these terrible things, and
Yeah.
then you get sadder and sadder. So yeah, really controlling the mind.
Thank you for sharing that, Jerry. Yeah. Okay. And Jesper, you mentioned about that monkey, in the video. So I remembered a incident that happened with me when I was traveling in India in a village, a countryside called Vrindavan. So I wear glasses. So one of the monkeys, he jumped to my head and kind of took away my glasses like this. And he went to a roof of another house on the side of the road. And I was looking for him to give my glasses back. But then, I asked the local people, how do I get my glasses back? And they said there is a shop nearby and you can get a pack, a tetra pack, small pack of fruit juice. And then you flip it over to the monkey. It will catch the juice pack and it will give you your glasses. I said, wow, that's amazing trade-off. Monkey is a nice businessman. I said, okay. So I spent some money, maybe, I think it was maybe $50 worth of pack. I said, my glasses are like, I spent $300 US, so it's worth it. So I just paid for the juice and flipped over the juice pack, and the monkey actually let go the glasses from his hands, and I got the glasses. So it was. So I was thinking about this incident, that our mind is like this monkey. When it gets a higher taste, right? These glasses are not worth anything for the monkey, but when the monkey gets a higher taste in form of the juice, which is, of some value, the monkey lets go other things. So similarly, when we give something of value to the mind, higher taste, then, all the other lower things automatically get washed off. We do not care about other things which are of no value or do not have add value to the actual goals in our life. So yeah,
You reminded me of a kind of searching for that higher, searching for something that gives us more and more pleasure. Is once you attain such a high level of pleasure, then it can turn into like an addiction of sorts. And then when that juice isn't available, you have to step down to the glasses, and that's just not the same.
Exactly. That's why spirituality is like that juice. Once you like it, this healthy living, keeping care of the health and the mind and the body, you synchronize everything together, then nothing else can basically divert you. So it's like a higher taste. You can get high without having anything which can impact your body. So cool. Thank you, Jasper. So I think Jasper already touched upon this, but I would like others to also share. What are the different ways to control the mind? Which method appeals you the most?
I would say like yoga, asana, meditation, and pranayama. Oh, and art. Art can help too.
So you do everything of this, Jerry, or is there something which you focus more?
Oh yeah, for me, I mean it ebbs and flows for me. I sometimes I get like so into my art. And like right now I'm not doing any art. And then for a while there I was like so into my pranayama, but I haven't practiced my pranayama in almost a year now. But so right now I'm focusing on the yoga asana. So
I see. Interesting.
I think music is a good one to control the mind. I often feel if I want to study focus, I'll put on a focus playlist. It helps me focus. So I guess that's one way.
Wonderful. Yeah.
I also concur with music being a really good way to control the mind. I often think of Ian introducing mantra meditation with sound vibrations. But also the other side of that is I get very distracted when I'm trying to study, and so any sound is very um, is very distracting for me. Some people love to study with music, but silence is a really good way for me to control the mind.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you're saying about music as well as silence, which are kind of opposite. It's interesting. So Raghav is saying, curious, is there a difference between distracting the mind versus controlling the mind with music?
I would say so. Kind of like Jerry, I don't always I don't consistently keep up with music. Maybe now I'm playing trombone in my college band, but with bass guitar, I find myself sometimes completely zoned into playing bass with whatever song I'm doing, and that I would completely agree that that's controlling the mind. My mind is doing one thing, it's doing it well, and it's focused on that one thing. But with studying, music can be very distracting my mind because it's a noise. It's a noise. It's not music. And
exactly, yeah.
It's interfering with my thoughts.
Even your thoughts are subtle sound. When you're working on something, you're thinking, right? So that's kind of a subtle sound. Nobody else can hear, but you are hearing. Okay, you are coding. How do I make this logic, or how do I, put this thing together? How do I fill this form? So it's a subtle sound, right? So you don't want any other sound to disturb you. That's right.
Yeah, and if I can add something else, just today I really felt this. I had a very successful meditation this morning, and I notice if I have a very successful one, or if I do it for longer, my mind, all the background noise in my mind quiets, and I don't realize how much is there until it's gone.
Right. Yeah, so when we talk about music, there are different sound vibrations. And as we saw in the video, it talked about the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So all these sounds have different frequencies, and some of these frequencies are really potent, very, very strong, and they are calibrated in such a way that it can actually soothe our mind. It can calm our mind, it can protect our mind, it can deliver our mind in so many ways. Therefore, it is called the mantra. The word mantra itself means man plus tra. Man means the mind in Sanskrit, and tra means to protect or to free the mind. So these mantras are designed in such a way which helps you relax, help you free the mind. And when you speak those mantras, when you are hearing them, when you are connected to those mantras, from within your soul, from deep within, then you can actually connect to that living force, that consciousness. That is how these mantras are defined. And it's not an ordinary sound vibration, if you speak something else and you speak mantras, then these are totally different sound vibrations. So that is one way of controlling the uncontrolled mind. So yeah. So this Mahamantra, like I like practicing the sound vibration, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So I meditate in the morning on this mantra, Just get up, and there are no rules or anything. You just brush your teeth, I sit and just chant the mantra. It helps me a lot in all the ways, so many ways. And then you can play this mantra also. Like my son plays drums and my daughter plays like a harmonium. It's like a piano. So we all kind of jam together with these mantras, and it's such a nice uh, feeling. It's amazing.
That's
Get
really fortunate that you have people that you can just play with. That's so
Yeah.
nice.
My wife, she would play like hand cymbals. These are made of brass metal. She would play
Yeah.
hand cymbals. My daughter will play harmonium, and son will play drum. And he's been playing drums since he was like 2 years, 3 years old. So maybe I have to invite you sometime to my house, and we can jam together. So it's amazing, environment.
I'll bring the bass and the amp. Just tell me when.
Oh, you'll play the bass?
I do, yeah. I play at Mantra House most weeks.
Oh, nice. Okay. Definitely. Then I'll keep you posted on
try to jam with my guitar.
Oh, you play guitar. Wow, we have the whole band crew here.
I can play the chords. I've been trying to play the chords that I see people playing in Hare Krishna. I can't quite get it, so I'll probably need more training. But it would be really great to jam.
Yeah, as long as you practice, I think you'd be it. I think it would be really cool if you came on Saturdays to jam. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
I have a question. So with the mantra, if you listen to the chanting on, let's just say Spotify, does that help with controlling the mind? Any thoughts?
Yeah. So sorry, Zuin, I was. Can you repeat that again?
Oh, because we were talking about mantra, and I was wondering if you listen to music like mantra chanting, does that help, like calm you, control the mind?
I would say so, honestly. From my personal experience, there's a video that I keep watching. I think it's something called RAS, and it happened in Dubai. And it's a very long video of just people practicing bhakti meditation on Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. And I can share the link in the group, which whenever I'm feeling just overburdened, I go to the waterfront that's by the canal in Seattle, and I'll put it on my ears and just listen to it, and it just makes me happy. Literally, it makes me happy, and I cannot. Oh, I think that's the Ian shared it. Yeah, that was when I was really like, okay, I'm not even chanting, I'm just listening, and it's just making me happy. What is this? So
I remember I started listening to one recording and it felt like I was there and I just started singing along after a bit. But yeah, it's one of the best quality kirtan around on the internet, in my personal opinion.
I know occasionally I'll pull up I'll also put I'll put my headphones in and play bass to a kirtan. And it also has the same effect. I get done with it and I just feel elated and my mind feels quiet. It's really nice.
Yeah. So, Zuyan, also I wanted to add to your question. There have been a lot of scientific research also in this area on the impact of these mantras on the mind, and there have been studies based on your, different, I would say, bodily metrics like blood pressure and other things, stress factor, and it is medically proven now that mantras do help in relaxing you, in calming you down, and having a healthy mind and healthy body. So, and I think last week I also shared one link on the research paper. So, and yeah, so it is very, very scientific. So, I mean, you should try it because the taste of the pudding is in eating it, right? So
Yeah, I do listen to it on Spotify sometimes, but it's really hard because your mind, like we all say it's a monkey mind, so it's it's really hard to stay focused because it just jumps from one topic to another like so fast.
that's why we have to come together and do it. Like we have mantra house, there's everyone is coming together, like
Yeah,
we have 30-40 and everybody is jamming and you're sitting there, then you get inspired looking at others, how they are meditating, how they are focusing their mind, right? So it's just like in business, if you have to go to a business meeting, you go and meet everyone and talk about it, then you learn from them, right? So similarly in spirituality also, we have to have the kind of friendship of similar minded people, and then we get inspired and then we can focus our mind. So that helps a lot. Have you been to mantra house before, Zuin?
yeah.
Oh, I
I've
see.
been going pretty much every week since January, and I
Okay.
think
I
it's
think
the
Suyan's like one of the most regular people to exist on the planet. Like I can count on her to like be there, like even if one day nobody decides to show up, which has not been the case, but yeah, she's always there.
it's
That's
I
good.
think
Yeah.
it's the only time that I can just not think, where my mind it just stays calm and focused at Mantra House. So it
That's great.
helps so much.
Right, right.
Yeah, if I can add something, I would. I remember Jerry saying something a while back that meditation isn't easy sometimes, and it's completely true. And I sometimes when I'm having trouble focusing on meditation, I have to remind myself to get rid of any expectations and just kind of let it happen. And whatever happens, it's gonna happen, and I'm not gonna be upset with the results. And maybe it'll be better the next day, but it's also good seeing you at Mantra House. I'll be there tonight as well.
Oh, awesome.
Cool.
I
Yeah, I think
shared a
I really
link
like
to
that.
the particular kirtan that I listened to, and I think if not just hearing, you don't feel the greatness, like seeing them enjoy, like it really makes me also feel, oh wow, they're like, they're just vibing to it so much. I cannot resist myself from enjoying, even if I try to, I think.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that, Preetam. And Zuin, like you mentioned, when you come home in mantra house, you can feel the vibrations, it relaxes the mind. But when you come home, it is a struggle. So that is true, uh, and therefore, it requires practice. When you come home, you can also start practicing, and slowly it may take some time. These practices take some time. So we have to be very enthusiastic. So you are already enthusiastic, and then once we have enthusiasm, we expect things to happen very quickly, right? So we have to be very determined to continue doing that. So continue doing that for some time with patience, obviously. In this world, whatever great we want to achieve, it takes time and patience, right? Whether you go for a master's degree or a PhD, it takes time. And this is the highest degree that you can ever attain to, have a controlled, happy mind and be peaceful. So yeah, I would say, continue with a strong enthusiasm, be determined, be patient, and you'll start seeing the results.
Yeah, peaceful. That's hard, very hard. Because with today's society, it's like everything is just so demanding and
Yeah,
stressful.
I agree. Yeah, I know. Yeah. But I can assure you more than 100% that this will definitely help you from all the distractions around you. Because when you connect to yourself, you find that your own me time, then these things are like will not really affect you, and you will be able to handle those very gracefully. So just like I would say a house is standing, and there are so many tornadoes going on. So if a strong tornado hits, the house may fall, but what keeps the house standing still? That is the strong foundation of that house, right? So in our lives also, there may be so many tornadoes of expectation from others, from relationships, from finances, from expectations. But if we have that strong spiritual foundation, then we can be, very peaceful within, and we can take a very informed decision. So just like in the ocean also, you see at the shore of the ocean, the waves may be too wavy, they may be too turbulent. But when you go deep within the ocean, the waves are very quiet. So this will help us. So many thoughts. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that you may get thousands of desires, to do this thing, that thing. You may expect something to do. Others may expect something of you. But who is an intelligent person who does not pays attention to everything that is coming to your mind? You only focus on what is really important, right? So yeah, I mean, so many things bombarding you, whether it's your phone distracting you or your messages and so many Instagram app. You're trying to refresh everything, all the messages every 5 minutes. But what about that connection to yourself? If you refresh that connection, then you can handle all these outside connections.
I like your analogies. Those are really, really cool. Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you, Jesper, for appreciating that. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita teaches a lot of powerful principles. You may have millions of desires and thoughts, but intelligent person is one who manages those desires, kind of controls, okay, which one I need to pay attention, which one I need to ignore. So, and you focus towards the light and growth and what your goal in life is, and then other things will automatically, be dealt with. You have to deal with the darkness and focus towards the light or towards the growth.
And again, that comes down to the mind. Is it your friend or your foe?
Yeah. So if you keep focusing on the faux part, the mind will basically torment you like the monkey, which took away my glasses. So if we focus on what's really important, then it can become a friend. So, because the nature of the mind is to magnify, whatever small thing is there, it will make it big. Or, somebody said to me 20 years back, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm worried about it. No, just focus on what's important for you now. What's your goal in future? Just work on that. And be happy. All these sessions, the whole point of all these sessions is to be happy. We all want to be happy. That's the goal. So. Okay, so let's see if there is any other thoughts anybody has before we have 4 minutes.
I really like the point that Jasper brought up earlier when he was talking about his meditation practice and how, some days are just bad, but you learn to not lament on it, but rather just continue to do your best to improve and have a better day or a better meditation session the next time you try and focus and dive in. And I found that in my meditation practice, it's like some days I feel like, wow, my mind really cooperated today. And other days I'm like, today it did not work out, but at least I went through the practice of doing it such that over time I may be able to train my mind where there's improvement. And I've definitely seen that just being consistent in my practice, no matter how I'm feeling or how it's going or how disturbed my mind is, it's been very helpful in slowly, incrementally making improvement.
I completely agree with that. Especially because school is really getting in the swing of things for me right now. It's third week is next week. I've made a really good effort to get up and meditate before I do anything else. And I was inspired by someone a couple weeks ago. I missed the last session, but he said he meditated for 1 or 2 hours sometimes, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make that effort, even if it's not 100% every time.
I like your determination, Jasper. That's very inspiring.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Anyone else like to?
I had a thought from earlier when we were talking about music for controlling your mind versus distracting your mind. Got me thinking that yes, I cannot really focus when I put on, say, pop songs, because I'll start humming to that. I have to put on like something that, like, it's a different kind of music that I have to listen to. And so I guess, yeah, there is a difference of what kind of music I listen to control versus to distract. Sometimes I feel distraction is also fine. Like I do want to distract sometimes,
Yeah,
that's also like tuning out. It's fine. But for controlling, definitely it has to be a conscious effort. Like
yeah,
what am I listening to?
interesting perspective.
So I just had a thought that was in the back of my mind.
Yeah, nice.
Okay.
Yeah, you bring a good point of that. That we seem to be contrasting the control and distraction, but both can be good if you utilize them right. It's taking a break from studying to go distract yourself is something that I do often.
Nice. Okay, we have 1 minute. So if nobody has anything, I'll share one story quickly in 1 minute. Is that okay? Okay. So I was hearing my teacher this morning, Radhanath Swami. He was sharing that one of the biggest lessons he learned about the mind was from his friend, and he was going on a ship, like a cruise ship, and there was a huge storm in the middle of this ocean, and everybody was like, shouting and howling and wanted to take those rescue boats and jump out of that ship, because there were some issues with the ship as well. So, but there was one child, and the child was very happy, and the child was not crying. She was quite peaceful. And my friend went to the child and said, "Why are you not fearful? Why are you not worried among so much of turbulence?" So the child said that I have my mother near me, and I do not worry because I know my mother will protect me and she'll take care of me. And this friend of ours, he said that, that was one of the biggest lessons I learned in my life from that little child. And he said that, similarly, when we connect to our own soul, when we connect to ourselves, you feel that shelter, that love. And through this Maha Mantra that we chant, the sound vibrations, that there is no fear in life, whatever may come. So we accept that as our, shelter, life, and soul. So I really like that example from our friend. So just wanted to share, because one of the functions of mind is, it's very fearful. We get fear from so many things, and kind of hampers our growth.
I think our mind, it fears of the unknown.
Yes. Yeah. Correct.
Agree. I think some of the scariest things in life are not physical, it's what the mind conjures up.
Exactly. It's the perception, right? What we think about something. Like
And
a red, yeah, like a red rose flower. A botanist would look at a rose from a different perspective. Or what is the texture and what is the DNA and all those things. Somebody who's a lover, then lover may think, oh, I should give it to my beloved as a Valentine gift, this red rose. And somebody
yeah,
who's allergic to the flower, he may just stay away from the flower. So although the flower is the same red rose flower, but everybody has a different perspective towards the same object.
yeah, I know we're a
So,
bit over time, but I have like the maybe 30-second story that relates to the unknown is that there was a king, and if prisoners were sentenced to death, they had a choice. They could choose to be hanged or to go through a door that they didn't know what was behind. And all of the prisoners took the noose because what could be worse than death? and one of the prisoners asked, I'll take the noose, but what's behind the door? And the king said, that's what every prisoner asks. And the truth is freedom is behind that door. And there's a blockage in your mind that keeps you from choosing the unknown. So that story has kind of influenced my perception of the unknown.
Interesting. Nice story. Thanks for sharing, Jasper.
You have to curious and be fearless to ask what's the unknown. I guess, then you get to know what's behind that door.
What's that song? Is it like a Disney song? Like, is it Moana? Into the Unknown? Like, there's like a song. I don't know. Like when you were talking about that, like that soundtrack was just playing in my mind.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to take calculated risk, right? So okay, so I think we are over time, but thank you. This was such a wonderful discussion. I really loved everybody's input and such a deep insights all of you have, and I got to learn a lot from you, and I hope each of us learned everything from each other. So
One
thank you.
thing
So,
before
yes.
we end, Gaurav. So I think Preetham, Suyan, and Jasper, all three of you are going to be there. Raghav, I think you're also going to be there if you're feeling better. And then, so I guess I was going to extend my personal invitation to Jerry and Gaurav. If you're free, please do come. We can have a nice little in-person gathering of everybody who's attending these sessions, because I think it's a rare occurrence to get to meet everybody together, but I think it does. It is such a nice moment when we're able to see everybody in person and bond in that manner as well. So in case your schedules allow, it would be great to have both of you as well.
Sure, I am. Definitely. Thank you. So next week's session is in line with today's session. It's titled as Moods and Modes. So when we talk about mood, sometimes we are, in a very happy mood. Sometimes we are in the middle mood, and sometimes we are like maybe a little passionate. Sometimes we are very, very angry, and which is okay. So we'll discuss and see what these moods and modes are, and how to navigate to be the best of ourselves and to be happy, right? Ultimately, and to use these modes so that we are more productive, efficient, and pursue our goals in life. Oh, so that's his favorite session. Okay. Yeah, nice.
Thank you, Raghav.
Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.
Have a good one, guys. Bye.
See you guys later.